Thanks for joining us for the Purdue University CME Group Ag Economy Barometer September 2024 survey results. I'm Jim Minter, Director of the Purdue Center for Commercial Agriculture, and I'm going to share with you the highlights from this month's survey. The Ag Economy Barometer Index fell 12 points to a reading of 88 this month. That left the index down 18 points compared to last September. And the Current Condition Index fell 7 points compared to last month and was actually 22 points lower than it was in September of 2023. The Future Expectation Index fell 14 points compared to a month ago, and that left that index 15 points lower than it was in September of 2023. We continue to ask producers about their biggest concerns for their farming operation in the upcoming year, and the top concern continues to be high input cost, followed by lower crop and livestock prices. And in fact, those two are nearly equal this month, with higher input costs chosen by 34% of the respondents and lower crop and livestock prices chosen by 33% of the respondents. The Farm Financial Performance Index reading of 68 was down 4 points compared to August and was 18 points lower than it was this time last year. The Farm Capital Investment Index actually rose a little bit this month. It rose 4 points higher above the August reading, but that was still 4 points below a year ago, and the index remains mired in a very weak territory as a large majority of producers continue to view this as a poor time to make large investments in their farming operation. And you can see that when we ask producers about their plans for machinery purchases in the upcoming year. Back in June, 53% of the producers in the survey said they were going to reduce their farm machinery purchases in the upcoming year. This month, that is now up to 69% of the producers in the survey who plan to reduce their machinery purchases. And when we ask people about why it's a bad time to make large investments in their farming operation, uncertainty about farm profitability is now the number one reason chosen by 31% of the producers in the survey, followed by rising interest rates, followed by high cost of farm machinery and buildings. There's a small percentage of producers who report it is a good time to make large investments. This month, it was just 13% of the producers in the survey who said it was a good time to make investments. And among those producers, the top choice for why it was a good time is the relatively high inventories carried by most machinery dealers. The short-term farmland value expectation index was 10 points below a month ago at a reading of 95. That leaves that index 31 points lower than a year ago, and that's the lowest index reading that we've gotten since July of 2020 when we were still feeling the after effects of COVID. When you look at the raw responses to that question that index is based on, you can see what took place was the percentage of producers who expect values to rise dropped 10 points from a month ago, while those expecting values to hold steady actually increased by 10 points. The long-term farmland value expectation index actually rose a little bit this month. It was up 5 points compared to a month ago, but that still left that index 6 points lower than a year ago. And when we followed up and asked producers who think farmland values are likely to rise over the next 5 years, and we asked them why they feel that way, the percentage of producers pointing to the impact of solar and wind leases on farmland values as a reason for their optimism has been holding steady at about 6 to 7% over the course of the last several months. And we've only gotten a couple of responses that were a little bit higher than that, and that was back in May and June of 2024 when that percentage actually got up to about 10 or 12%. This month, as we have in the last several years, we asked producers about their expectations with respect to cover crop usage. And the percentage of producers who say they currently use cover crops is holding relatively steady. This month it was at 56%. A year ago that was at 52%. And when we ask producers about the proportion of their farm that they devote to cover crops, and this question only went to producers who said they currently use cover crops, we have seen a shift over time. Back in the first time we asked this question in 2021, we had 59 to 54% of the producers in the survey who said they devoted less than 25% of their farm's acreage to cover crops. This time around, that was down to 32%. And on the other end, the percentage of producers who say they use it on 26 to 100% of their farm's acreage rose to 68%, up from 41% that they reported back in 2021. So more producers are devoting a larger percentage of their farm's acreage to cover crop usage than what we were picking up several years ago. That wraps up the highlights for this month's survey. You can get the full report on our website, purdue.edu/agbarometer, and you can get a more detailed discussion with my co-author and I, Dr. Michael Langemeyer, on our Purdue Commercial AgCast podcast, which is available at any major podcast provider and also at our website, purdue.edu/commercialag.